Welcome to the Dojotalkpodcast. Please remove them shoes before entry. Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. It is episode number 74. It is Sunday, February 25th. About the fourth straight gloomy day on the East Coast. I am back with my co-host, the Antaku. What's going on, man?
So, I was actually paying attention to the commercials last night, and I noticed the Sage DJ commercial that they always do with the crappy one about like what was it? How to measure force or whatever.
Yeah.
Why are they wearing socks? Like it's just so awkward because they're like fighter shorts and like their gloves and like they're shirtless, but they're wearing socks.
I don't know. What were they? Reebok socks? They had to promote the full fight.
They were just straight up black, so I don't know.
Oh man, I never noticed that. But then most of the well, you know what? I can't reveal how I'll be watching fights. I'll just say I don't see commercials. Oh man, but yeah, this weekend's been kind of. But
yeah, we should. I know the card was like yesterday or Saturday, whatever. If we had recorded Friday, I feel like this would have been a great show because I was in some type of mood. And
I was hoping this card would have ended a little bit earlier. Well, actually, you know what? I can't really complain. The whole card was over by 10:30, which is amazing. I guess I had this vision in my head that the main card started at 8. And then, like, every fight would be a knockout, and it'd be over by, like, 9:30. But
well, they're going to space it out. They got to get that overrun.
Yeah. Didn't quite go like that. But, I mean, all the fights were awesome, so I'm not complaining in the least bit.
It's always weird because it like, messes with my brain when I see, like, fights before, like, 10 o'clock. Because that's when I'm like, okay, you got to start focusing.
Right. It's always weird, like, when the card goes off and it's 10:30, and I'm like, do I go to sleep? Or do I, like, can I still stay up? Like, I'm not used to this. This is uncharted territory. This doesn't happen often. We don't get this kind of treatment. We have to cherish these moments. 'Cause I'm pretty sure the card next week will be up till, like, 12 something.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that's not a Fox card.
Nah, that's a pay-per-view, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We'll be up well past midnight. But anywho, yeah, not the best of weekends, but these fights kind of got the weekend back on track. It's a pretty awesome card. But as always, before we get into the fights, well, actually, real quick, before we can get into news, just quick plugs. As always, you can listen to the podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. You're on iTunes. Please rate, subscribe, leave a review. Also, you can listen to us on Google Play. Send emails to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. And if you want to hit us up on Facebook, you can just go to your search bar, type in Dojo Talk Podcast, and you will find us there. So on to news and nuggets and things that have been, going on during the week. Let me scroll through my notes here. All right, so I guess we'll start with two of the biggest fight announcements. So we got Marlon Moraes and Jimmy Rivera going down in Fight Night Utica. That's an awesome fight. So that's a really, really, just really awesome fight. My fanhood makes me root for Moraes, but that's just an awesome fight.
Just seeing that fight that fight will probably be the main event. I actually think it is the main event.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah. I can't think of another fight that would overtake that as a main event. That's not like a title fight, but that fight's going down. Another big one, Kelvin Gastelum and Jacare going down in UFC 224 in May. Who you got next?
Gastelum. Sure.
See, I'm 50-50 on this one. But I feel like I saw some people like kind of writing Gastelum off, and I don't get it.
Could you get?
I feel like Gastelum can hang with. I mean, I get it, like his size against some people, like he saw in the Weidman fight. That's when the size Connolly definitely counts against him. But like with all of his other skill sets, he can pretty much hang with most of the guys I think up there. In my opinion, he could. Well, at least have like a puncher's chance. But yeah, I'm kind of split on that one. I guess also once we're talking about Utica, other fights also on that card: Walt Harris and Daniel Spitz, Hector Sandoval, Jared Brooks, Sajara Eubanks, and Lauren Murphy. Further scrolling down, we have Benil Dariush and Alexander Hernandez. Dariush was originally supposed to have fought Bobby Green, but I think Bobby Green pulled out last week with an undisclosed injury. So Hernandez will be his replacement. Israel Adesanya, we'll get to see him again really quick. He is fighting Marvin Vettori. That'll be UFC on Fox 29 in April. I can't remember if we mentioned this last time or if it was even a thing last time. Edson Barboza and Kevin Lee. UFC Fight Night 128.
Is that official for 128? Because the article I saw said it was in the works, and it was either going to be on 224, 225, or Atlantic City.
Let's do a quick Google search. I thought I saw it for 220.
Yeah. 128 main event. All right. Because I saw it being pitched around for the 224 card, because that card could probably use more of an undercard because of the main event, which I don't think we actually mentioned.
What is that?
Rocky Pennington and Amanda Nunes for the bantamweight title.
Oh snap! Yeah, I definitely don't even have that.
I think we mentioned it last week because it was like that's what was going around, that they were targeting it, but I think it came out that's official.
All right, so yep, that'll be going down. I almost would just want to root for Barboza just because of what he went through and the Khabib fight. I almost feel like bad for him what happened. I just kind of want to see him win.
I'm rooting for Barboza because he doesn't fight with Steph. That's a dick move.
Yeah. That's true. War Barboza. That's a good fight though. That's a good fight.
Can't go wrong at lightweight.
Mike Powell. Can't. You can never. In like the top 30, 40, you can't go wrong. Mike Powell, Zach Otto, also on UFC 222. Gilbert Burns and Lando Venata. Don't have what card that's on, but that'll be going down. Another fight that's not official, but a call out. Mark Diakasi, if I'm saying that right. Everybody knows the guy with the red mohawk. He wants Sage Northcutt. That's a fight he wants. I think Mark is on a. I'm pretty sure he's coming off a loss. I think.
Yeah, he lost to Devin Clark.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not mad at that fight, to be honest. I mean, normally I don't want to see a dude on a losing streak fight a guy on a winning streak. But I mean, Mark's violent. He's gonna stand up. Sage would be probably willing to stand up at least until he gets rocked. But I'm not mad at that fight if they decide to do it. No article I read, he said he'll have to ask Mr. Faber if he can accept the fight. But so that's the thing. Well, all right. Before we get on to the Bellator news and other stuff, do we care to talk about Conor allegedly throwing his name in the hat to fight Frankie at UFC 222?
I mean, I care so much as in 222 and 223 probably get a little bit of a jump in the buy rate because he mentioned like his name's just going to be all there throughout like media week. But right. Beyond that, not really. Also, shouts to Leah Letson, Invicta featherweight bantamweight, who's got signed by the UFC. She doesn't know when she's fighting or who her first opponent will be. I think it was supposed to be Yana Kunitskaya, but she's fighting for the title next week because Max Holloway got hurt. So, shouts to her. Sign more women.
Right.
It's not hard. There are plenty. I spent a whole weekend finding like 50 that they could sign, and it wouldn't bat an eyelash. So
They need the bodies, like especially featherweight. Jesus Christ.
featherweight has 2 fighters.
There's not even enough people to make a tournament. Like
This is what happens when you let Bellator sign the entire top 10 at featherweight.
I guess they figure they wouldn't. How crazy would it be if Cyborg ends up over there?
I mean, it's not gonna happen because she would make smaller paydays, but it'd be hilarious.
I'm all for chaos, so if it does happen,
I mean, the only way I see it happening is if they offer her like if they go the pay-per-view, and like Cyborg proves that she's a can consistently draw like 350, and they just offer her more.
yeah. Well, we'll see. I'd like to hope somebody in the UFC brass is trying to work something out with that division.
No, as soon as Cyborg
don't-
decides that she doesn't want to fight anymore, they will stop caring.
Right. And poor Megan Anderson, man. I'm still just I want to see her fight. And I feel like she's gonna end up like lost in the mist somewhere in that division, and we just won't end up seeing her. I don't know. 145 is a wasteland of 2 fighters, 3, whatever. I don't know.
I mean,
Enough to count on one
technically
hand.
speaking, I think Julia Budd beat Megan Anderson, so she's the number 2 featherweight in the planet. I mean, this is when Megan Anderson was fighting out of Australia and was basically in like a no-name camp, and now she's, I guess she's still in a no-name camp, but she's like in an American no-name camp, which I think just on average is going to tend to be better.
I hope we see her soon. She did pop up on Twitter.
She was
Going against Colby Covington, but shout outs to Megan Anderson. Then it's about all the UFC news and other promotions. Shout outs to Ong Lasong, who is now a 2-belt holder over in one championship. He head kicked Alexandre Machado. I think it was head kick followed up by punches, so he now holds the light heavyweight and middleweight title over there. So shout outs to him. If you're not holding 2 belts, you're not doing enough work. Shout outs to him and then Shorty Torres and everybody else who's out here dual wielding belts. And I guess quick mention, Nikki Holskin and is it Callum Smith? If I'm saying that correct.
Caleb, yeah.
Callum Smith. I got a chance to. This fight was on, and I was on like the same time during the prelims were on last night. So I was kind of watching this while I was watching UFC at the same time, and like Nikki didn't look bad. Like, I mean, he clearly lost the fight, but it wasn't like he got like demolished or He made it a competitive fight, and like he had good moments. He was landing some good power shots. I just think his volume wasn't really there. Didn't have enough head movement. Like he would have rounds where he would use head movement. He would bob and weave. He would get in. He would land some good shots. But then he would have another round where he just kind of would just like get jabbed and just touched up, and he didn't like have much of an offensive rebuttal. But like it was a solid showing though. Like I'm not sure what he was doing when he got the call for this fight. If like he was even training, but
I mean, Holskin probably had another boxing match scheduled or something, or he was like working on it. But it probably was definitely not this weekend.
Right. So considering the circumstances, like I thought he had a pretty solid showing. I'm not mad at it, but he ended up dropping a decision loss. But I feel like this fight like didn't like hurt his stock, so to speak. Like he put on a pretty good showing, I thought. But so shout outs to him, and that's I guess in Bellator news, bad Bellator news.
I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Well, I'll let you handle the cuts because I don't have that listed.
So Bellator let go, cut, or didn't re-sign 14 different fighters across various divisions, some of which they desperately need talent in, so it's kind of crazy that they let them go. But former Bellator bantamweight champion Marcus Galvao, LC Davis, Steve Garcia, Steve Cazzola, Kendall Grove, Georgie Karakanian, Fernando Gonzalez, Kevin Casey, Francisco France, Mike Rhodes, Francis Carmont, Felipe Lins, Benton Reiter, and Alexis Dufresne were all let go. So they let
That's crazy. No more Galvo.
how they let go of 3 different bantamweights though. Like that division has 9 bantamweights in it.
What was Galvo on like that bad of a losing streak?
I think his contract just expired and they didn't sign him back. I'm not sure if they.
That's wild.
I mean, he's probably
when I saw that list,
more expensive than signing somebody new. But he was 1-3 in his last 4.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure no, they were at bantamweight. All right. No wait, he was at featherweight for his last fight. He lost to Sam Celia.
Yeah, because when I saw that list, his name stuck out. I guess Cazzola kind of stuck out because we just saw him fight, and I felt like he was. I ain't gonna say he's supposed to be like the next guy up.
They were positioning him to go on a run, and he just kind of came up short in his last 2 fights. So
yeah, and Gonzalez was surprising too, though.
Yeah, but like at this point, you've gotten all you can out of him, and he just won't make weight ever. So like, what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
Like Brennan Ward still sells tickets. Fernando Gonzalez is supposed to be there to test prospects. I don't know how many prospects Bellator really has that are in that range to fight him.
I'm hoping with all these cuts that maybe they got a next crop of guys they think who will plug into these spots. I would hope.
I really hope because like with the signing of like Alex Hernandez, that you mentioned earlier, who's going to be fighting Beneil Darius, like there are no more prospects left on the American scene. Like you are a dude with a kind of good record who kind of has an understanding of what he's doing, and you're going to be in the UFC if you sit by the phone close enough, you know.
All right.
And that you will get signed before you are ready. You will get pushed before you are ready. And if you are not just like a phenomenal talent, like a Chris Weidman, like early in his career, or a TJ Dillashaw early in his career, you will burn out hella quickly. And we're kind of seeing that on this. We saw this on the Fox card with Mike Perry.
That'd be a whole nother episode. I was thinking a lot of like, what is Bellator's recruitment strategy?
They sign wrestlers out of college because they offer them probably more money than they can make fighting on the regional scene. Like they sound like I don't know how they got Steve Cazzola. Like, let me check.
Because I've been noticing, like I watch, I feel like this year I've been watching a lot more like regional cards, local cards, and like a lot of the guys who are getting signed from these other like smaller promotions, none of them are ending up in Bellator.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Like none.
Like Cazzola is like literally just a dude from Illinois. Like he had his first 3 fights in California, but like from what I understand, like this is a dude who was fighting in Gladiator Challenge, Explode Fight Series, and like American Fight Predator Fighting Championship. Like he was so far from being in the UFC that like I guess Bellator was just like, yeah, you want to, he fought on one of their undercards and was like, do you want to stick around? I think that's their plan. Like they just have like these local dudes fight on the prelims to sell tickets, and if they win in impressive enough fashion, they ask them if they want to stick around.
I don't know, man. They need to switch it up or something, man. Like
what's killing them is the UFC literally signs everybody. Like this was the thing. Like for a couple of years, Bellator was signing like a whole bunch of like really hot regional prospects. Like they got Darian Caldwell, they got fucking all those light heavyweights, and all those Russian dudes, and like they got that.
I was gonna say, where are the Russian imports?
They
man?
they fired them all when Rebny got fired because he was the connect for that. Like now with Fedor, we're seeing like Vadim Nemkov make it over here and stuff like that, and some of his proteges. But Like a lot of the dudes who got signed from Russia during the Rubny era were through like Alexander Shevchenko. Or not Shevchenko, Shlemenko. Like fucking was Vasil Vasilevsky one of his dudes? And like Koreshkov, and like these are the like I don't know how they got Shah Shabulaya, but like all those dudes just kind of got the boot because they weren't ticket sellers.
I don't know. It makes me. I want to root for Bellator, but I worry. I worry about them
Like
sometimes.
now, I guess they're focused on like they are a ticket selling company. They are not a TV ratings company. That's why they leave the country 6 times out the year, and we're forced to get like a tape delay because they get like $1 million a show at the live gate. Like I don't they really should just be focusing on just being like I don't want to say like the alternative to UFC, but like doing something different.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why like when I watch them, I don't know like I don't see like a focus of like what the company is or like what they're like. I don't see like there's no path, there's no vision. Like I feel like it's just there. Like I don't know what they're building
That
towards or
yeah,
what it's.
that's what this year feels like. Like with the UFC, it's gotten kind of better, but like there's so much bullshit on the back end that it just kind of feels like everything is meaningless.
All right. At least like
Like
I don't know, be like Ryzen, man. Like when I watch Ryzen, it's just fun. Like it's just fun. Like if you're not gonna have a clear cut, you know, there's no real vision. Just be a fun company, man. Just put on awesome fights and just let that be
yeah,
that. You know. But yeah, I
like
don't know. They worry me
the
sometimes.
one fight like that just springs to mind. Like why hasn't Patricio Pitbull fought Michael Chandler? That's a
Right.
fight that had heat. It had like, oh, he fought his brother. It had that angle going to it for it. Like that's a fight they could have made. That just would have been fun. It would have been interesting if you've been following Bellator at all for the past like 4, 5, 6 years. These are two dudes you know, and that's something you could build off of, or
Right.
build towards, I should say.
And I mean, depending on how that fight would go, you might could squeeze a trilogy out of that
Yeah,
one, depending on how competitive the fight is. And I'm pretty sure it would. Like I wouldn't doubt that Pitbull can hang with some of those 55ers.
yeah.
But yeah, that's another episode for another day. But Bellator scares me
Like
sometimes. I don't want
I'm
them
not
to.
even scared. I'm just confused. Like what is your goal? Like do you want to have the best fighters in the world? Do you want to have like the most entertaining fighters in the world? Because apparently they're talking to John Fitch, like, but they let go of Ben Askren. Like what? You
You know what? That's I meant to write that down too, but I don't want to spend forever talking about. I wanted to mention Ben Askren on here because I've been seeing his name.
he,
I've been seeing his name pop up a little bit lately.
yeah say he would beat both the Diaz's in one night, and that GSP would come back for him, even though like that tweet only got like 100 retweets, and yeah.
I I, I kind of want to see him fight now. Like
Mm.
I wasn't like a Ben Askren fan, but I wanted to see him in the UFC just because like he was clearly like the best welterweight outside of the
Yeah.
UFC. And like Douglas Lima was my guy, and he embarrassed Douglas Lima.
Like I really
So
love the what you call it, like I love the idea of like Askren Maya, or even GSP Askren back when that was like a feasible thing. Like
right,
when GSP was just like out of contenders, just bring in this dude who was the Bellator welterweight champion, who was an Olympic wrestler, and be like, go crazy. But
right.
like now, like I was never a fan of his mouth, um, because he says some stupid ass shit. But like now, like, I don't know what the It just feels like it's past it, you know?
Yeah, like the ship on him might have
Like
sailed,
I don't even know how
and
old he is, like 33, 34.
he's early 30s, I think. I want to say early 30s. He might be mid though. He might be around like 34, 35. I'm not sure. But yeah, because I mean, you keep him in one. There's nobody's gonna beat him over there. Like he's not taking any losses over in one. So it's like outside of the UFC, I don't know what else you even do to him. I don't know any other welterweights out there that are probably
Like I
gonna.
would, if you wanted to go back to Bellator, I'd be like, that'd be fun. Like Ben Askren versus like Rory McDonald, I'm down with that. But
Yeah.
like a battle of the serial killer versus like the smartass. But I don't think they don't want that. They want John Fitch so that he can go fight Paul Daly and beat him up before they let Daly go.
Which is that's enough. Oh, God.
Yeah,
I miss Strikeforce.
yeah. You see, that's that was the model that they were aspiring to, but
They didn't hit it like at all, man. Like I feel like it's not even
because they
close.
can't get the young guys, they can't get the next Luke Rockholds and Jacares, and there's no heavyweight division really to draw from. Like this heavyweight tournament is just like the heavyweight Grand Prix Strikeforce threw, except Strikeforce, like, but UFC didn't have the monopoly on the heavyweight division like it did back in well, the UFC didn't have that monopoly like it does now. Like a lot of those like heavyweights who emerged out of either nowhere or came from Pride or like they were still fighting in Strikeforce. You had your Overeems, your Verdums, your Fedor before he lost, and I guess a little bit after he lost. Bigfoot came from like I guess the Brazilian freak show circuit. Barnett couldn't get a fight in the U.S. Sergey Karatinov, like these guys were they still had some, yeah.
Cormier.
Like where the fuck did they get Daniel Cormier from? Dude's in the
Man.
like. I guess from that AKA that time in space where AKA got fired, and Strikeforce just like scooped in and was like, "Hey, you want to fight for a big promotion? Come fight for us." But like, think of all the dudes they found through their scouting like system. I don't know who was the scout who signed all those people. But, like,
I'm saying that was just heavyweight, man. Then you had Rockhold, Jacare,
OSP,
yeah, OSP. You had Romero,
King Mo, Fei Zhao.
you had
Like
Jordan Mean before his kind of
before he fell apart.
yeah, before he kind of fell
Tyrone
apart.
Woodley.
Woodley.
Safadine.
You had Safadine. Yeah. Oh man, you guys. Oh god. If you guys weren't around for the Strikeforce era, man, y'all missed out on some. That was an epic promotion. It was such a good promotion, man.
Yeah.
They were so good. I'm really.
Obviously the landscape's changed. The UFC's just flooded the market to the point where like it's just hard to maneuver, I guess. Like what do you do when you're like the UFC was running like 20, 25 shows a year back then? Now they're running like 40. Like how do you cope? Like how do you and they're constantly signing talent. Like they said, like I keep harping on this dude and I don't know enough about him to I'm not trying to say anything about his skill set, but like Alex Hernandez, like they have 100 lightweights on roster. You're telling me they couldn't find one that would fight a ranked opponent? Like they made all the calls, and they were like, "Yo, the 99 other people on this roster don't want to fight Beneil Dariush." You feel me? Like they didn't have to go outside the company to do that, but I guess they either wanted Alex Hernandez in the show or like they had an agent in their ear who was like, "Yo, this kid's really good. Put him in there against Dariush. He'll show you some stuff." And I don't think it's created a healthy work environment because it just makes everybody expendable. Like, we'll get to Mike Perry, but like another dude, Lando Venata, like Venata goes from fighting regional guys to fighting the number 2 guy in the division, and then he gets John McDessie, and then he gets freaking David is it David or the other Tamor?
That was the other one. I can't remember.
Yeah, well he gets Tamor,
More, and
then he gets freaking Bobby Green. Are you kidding me? Like,
right.
so like that's a slaughterhouse of a lineup. And yeah, I get it's lightweight. Everybody's gonna be tough, but like, freaking what's his name? The dude from New York, Gregor Gillespie is fighting like Jason Rinaldi.
I don't know.
Like the makeup of the UFC is at the moment not the healthiest thing. It doesn't help, but they do a really poor job of like putting their talent where they need to be. But a conversation for another day. Like, it sucks for Bellator, but this is what you bought into, man.
Yep. Life in 2018.
But I'm actually curious, because Bellator's doing shows in like Israel. Like, I want to like he's going to South Korea. We're going to see Bellator become more and more international, and I think they're going to be partnering with people more and more. So that'll be interesting, I guess. That's the future of Bellator. It's not signing guys who maybe wouldn't have gotten a look otherwise, or were really early in their career, because honestly, I don't think the UFC cares about that anymore.
Well, we'll see. MMA is always changing and throwing crazy stuff at us, so we'll see if Bellator figures it out. But on to the fight from last night. UFC on Fox 28 went down in Orlando. All praises due to cards that only have 4 fight main events. The card was over like literally at like 10:30, and it was awesome. No, actually the card was over like 10:15.
Good thing awesome. Too, because I was like ready to fall asleep.
But yeah, man, this card was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed this card, like pretty much from start to finish. But we will start from the top. Jeremy Stephens, Josh Emmett.
Jeremy Stephens, front runner for Fighter of the Year so far.
Hey, man, he's been getting it in, man.
We're literally in the second month of the year, and he's had 2 big knockouts on what's going to be the biggest FS1 card of the year. And Fox. So shouts,
yeah,
like,
man.
Hard work.
And they've been like good performances. And yeah, this fight, man, Emmett came in, obviously on a riding a high from flatlining Ricardo Lamas, so he's probably feeling on top of the world. But yeah, man, I was talking to a friend, and I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Emmett won, but I was going with Stephens, just kind of. I've just seen more of Stephens. I've seen the wars he's been through. I know what he can do to people, and I feel like if he gets put in a bad spot, he can get himself out of it. And
so, should we start with the controversy, or should we talk about the fight and build to it?
No, let's start with the fight. I mean, I feel like the fight itself, it wasn't a ton like going on. I mean, you had Emmett kind of like playing the outside, kind of like trying to feint his way into shots.
Like he has that patented alpha male approach to striking, which is feint, throw as hard and as strong as you possibly can with that overhand.
Right. Very Uriah Faber-esque.
Yeah. It works for them because they're all fantastic wrestlers who, if that doesn't work, they can fall back on their wrestling, and they're all really explosive. But at the same time, why I think tripped Emmett up here is that like he only has one layer to his offense, and Jeremy Stephens is a dude who's built his entire career off of just being able to change it up for like whoever he's facing. Like, he's a very adaptable dude. We saw him do it against Dillian Troy, where like Troy was tagging him with those leg kicks, and they were really starting to I'm not gonna say hurt, but bother Stephens, and then like he comes out in the second round and is able to mitigate that close distance and land that overhand to fucking turn his lights out.
All right. And that's kind of like what I noticed in this fight is like Emmett, like I said, he'll feint in, he'll load up on a shot, but like there's not a ton of like variety in his offense. Meanwhile, like Stephens is throwing combinations, he's throwing kicks. It's just a lot more versatile with his attacks. And I mean, Emmett, I want to say he countered him in the first and dropped
Yeah.
him.
All the credit in the world to Emmett. He hurt Stephens. Like I'm having trouble thinking of like the last time I saw Jeremy Stephens like dropped.
Yeah, and like it was a good clean.
Like I legitimately
it
thought,
was a
yeah,
good
for
clean
like a
hit.
quick second, I legitimately thought he won the fight. Like that it was over. I have it playing over here in the background, but like it's really bizarre. Like you see Stephens, like he's in there measuring, he's in there pressuring, he's in there like trying to draw the counter, and then you got like Emmett, who I don't think he's really building. Like he's trying to. Oh yeah, it was a counter right as Stephens was trying to close in on him. He stepped off to the side and hit him with a right hook.
Yeah, and then he got some ground and pound in, but Stephens ended up.
He tied up the hand and.
Yeah, he got back up, and like he got his wits back about him like pretty quick. And I think I want to say I feel like Emmett was kind of feeling himself after that KO. He did his little not KO. I mean after like the knockdown.
Little point to the ground, Max Holloway style.
He did his little And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you should be this isn't the dude to do that against. Like the fight isn't over yet. So I guess we can pretty much get on to the controversy. That was pretty much like the entirety of the what like most of the second round was. So the finishing KO sequence. I'm trying to watch it now because I forgot what started off.
I got right here. Jab. Wait. Inside leg kick. All right. Left hook, right hand, left hook. Drops him. Elbow, 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 elbow. Knee. Up.
Knee slash shin.
Uppercut, uppercut, and he's dead.
All right.
He's spaghetti.
Yeah. All right. Here's the thing about this.
MMA doesn't have rules. So stop complaining.
Oh man, yeah. Like, all right. So I think this commission is following the new rules. I think
it's Florida. Who knows?
I think they were. But I guess that's neither here
Florida's
nor there.
barely a real state. I'm just saying.
Right. But so the thing about this KO, like in real time, I mean, obviously, like the punch that dropped him was obviously fine. It was the strikes that were in question. A couple of the elbows
landed
may have been
directly
bad.
to the back.
Yeah. And then he has this knee slash little shin thing that kind of happens. All right, so in real time I didn't catch the elbows. Like it was just kind of chaos. It was just in the moment.
All fairness, like everybody was talking about the knees. Nobody was talking about the fact that
the elbows were an afterthought until like you saw the replay. But the knee in real time I thought was bad, and then I saw the replay, and I still think it was bad. Maybe not as bad as people made it out to be, because like I think there was contact, but it seemed like it was kind of like a graze. But you could make the argument, I think his hands were still on the ground, so graze or no graze, knee or shin, I guess that would still technically make it an illegal strike.
So my critique of this is I hate the three the 3 points of contact and you're down type of deal. Like you're either down or you're not. And down to me is either your ass is on the ground or both your knees are on the ground. Dude is on one knee. Like he's hunched over a little bit, but like, and I'm not sure I don't even know what the rules are anymore, because nobody listens to the rules anymore. No one has ever listened to the rules. Like,
right.
This has probably gone on longer than this, but I vividly remember Vitor Belfort banging on the back of Yoshiro Akiyama's fucking head.
Yeah, and they never called it.
It's not even subtle. He is going to the Statue of Liberty sledgehammer all the way down on his his neck vertebrae like a crazy man, and nobody cared. I think it was Mario Yamasaki who was reffing that one, and he's just sitting there like, yeah, this is happening. I am powerless to stop it.
And it's crazy because like if you watch any Vitor highlight, that fight is on his highlight reel, and everybody just casually ignores that. Like all of those blows were illegal. And yeah, like I'm watching the replay now, so yeah, like the I feel like the elbow was probably worse than the knee because the elbow like that full blown landed. There was no grace. He landed that.
And the argument I seen for it was that Emmett was kind of just was like moving, because I want to say like the first two landed clean to the side of his head or to like
yeah,
his ear.
they're more like around like the ear, yeah.
And then like he put his head down so that he could go dig for dig for the leg. And
right.
Stephens was like in the act of throwing, but that is some fuck up your day type shit. Like his head was spinning.
And I mean, to Stephens' defense, and I feel like if anybody wants to say it's dirty, I'm not gonna argue against you.
Same.
I kind of see both sides. Like in Stephens' defense, you're in the heat of the moment. It's not your job to stop the fight. Like you're about to get your KO. He's just going in for the kill. I don't think he was like intentionally trying to be dirty or anything like that. So like I guess like the elbows I kind of gave a pass to because like I said the first like elbow or two seemed clean. The last one was pretty bad, but once again it's not his job to stop the fight. The knee I was kind of I don't kind of get why he did that. Like I could see if it was like the gay guard where you kind of yank their head up and try to like make sure their hands aren't on the ground, that whole jazz. But yeah, the knee / shin, whatever, that was a little questionable.
It was illegal from what I understand.
Yeah.
I personally, if in my perfect world, that's a legal knee. But we don't live in my world.
All right, we live in.
You can tell because Latifi isn't champion yet.
But yeah, I don't know. Like if Emmett were to like if the news come out that Emmett appeals this loss, I'm not mad at Emmett.
He's come out and said he's going to appeal the loss.
All right, I wouldn't be mad at that. Like I wouldn't complain about that. Like the elbow, I think was definitely illegal. I don't think it was intentionally meant to be dirty. It was just kind of one of those heat of the moment. I'm going in for the kill.
You're moving, we're moving, like.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, as we stated, it's not his job to stop the fight. That's on the ref. And if he misses it, you keep going. Like you don't stop. But like I said, if he appeals and like this gets turned to like a no contest or whatever, I'm not mad at him. It was questionable enough that I'm not gonna be mad that he did that. So but at the end of the day, at least for now, as of now, a win is a win.
It's a damn good one too.
Yeah, it was a good win. And to be honest, not to be that guy, you take away the knee, you take away the elbow, I don't think it changes the outcome of the finish. Yeah. Just my opinion.
No.
But yeah, I don't think the outcome of this fight changes if you take away those blows. But it is what it is. But I mean, if he appeals or that's fine. I'm not mad at that. But Stephens got the W. How many fights is that in a row for him?
3, yeah.
So he's probably close. I would think maybe to a title shot.
The only thing, if I'm not even gonna say if the Edgar Holloway fight didn't fall through, he probably would have got it, but he probably has one more fight because the winner of Edgar Ortega will probably fight Holloway first.
Yeah. But I mean, great win for Stephens. Still, just one of those guys that's forever hanging around the top of that
Dude's
division.
in like the Robbie Lawler phase of his like career. Like
right.
He's just out here knocking motherfuckers out.
Right. and still looking good. Like the older he gets, he's
adding to his game. He's learning.
Yeah.
Props. Like it's super rare that guys are able to do this. And I talk about like he's only 31, but he's had like 30 fights in the UFC.
Yeah.
But that is a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring sessions, a lot of fights.
Right. And it's not like he's one of those dudes that gets into like wars. So it's crazy that his body just hasn't even shut down on him yet. So yeah, great win for him, man. He's definitely set himself up for at least some kind of maybe title eliminator or some another big fight. And I think for Emmett, even though he lost, I think he's still in a good place. Albeit you got KO'd or whatever, but I think it shows that like the Lamas win wasn't a fluke. Like he managed to drop Stephens. He had him in a bad spot. So I think he can still hang with those top guys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they do with him as a next fight. I don't know if you rush him back to like if you rush him back into a big fight. But
my one thing with Emmett, it's like, can you show me something beyond that initial? I don't want to say burst, but like, can you show me something when something is like when what you're originally doing isn't working?
Right.
Because that
like basically like, can you adapt?
Can you adapt? Do you have something else in your game for when your opponent isn't just going to let you run them over? Because again, like the Lamas fight was Emmett going repeatedly to the well with that left hook, and Lamas acquiescing because he was just going to throw those naked leg kicks over and over and over again. So that's the next thing I want to see out of Emmett. What do you do when you can't get when the other person has your game down? Because like Renan Moicano is somebody who I could see picking him apart from distance, because what he loves to do is just jump in from range. So I want to see him take that next step.
Huh? We'll see. Sometimes a loss can either make you go back to the drawing board and you become better, or you might end up falling further down the hole. But we'll see. I'd like to think he'll probably bounce back. I'm pretty sure. He'll probably get a name in his next fight. But we'll see. Either way, great win from Stephens. It was an awesome way to cap off the main event, controversy aside. It's also kind of funny. I don't know if you watched like the post fight and everything. Right. Cormier and Cruz kind of going at it over the controversy, and Cruz not bending a bit about this being a illegal knee or anything.
Which is funny because that's his teammate.
Right. It's like, come on, Cruz. Like,
that's why I like Cruz. He does not mince words, even with like the people he's supposed to be like biased for. But like, he will straight up just tell you if you suck or not. Remember him making that dude cry?
Oh man,
dude is a dick. But he calls like he sees it.
Oh man, but awesome main event. Sucks it's shrouded in controversy and illegal strikes, but it is what it is. We'll see how this appeal turns around. What if, I guess real quick before we move on to the next one, like let's say he wins the appeal and they make it like a no contest. You opposing him just running this back?
Go ahead, do it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. So we'll see. But congrats to Jeremy Stephens.
An oddly similar fight to another recent Team Alpha Male fight. Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah.
Team Alpha Male dude gets a knockdown in the first round. Other guy recovers. Just goes to the next layer of his offense.
All right. So we'll see. But best of luck to both of these gentlemen. So that was the main event. Co-main event. Oh boy, Jessica Andrade and Tisha Torres. I went into this fight. I've been a Torres fan since her Invicta days. I was afraid of this fight a little bit. I went into this fight hoping that she would win, but I was just afraid she would get her block knocked off. Luckily, the latter didn't happen. She did not get her block knocked off. But she did drop a decision. But this was an awesome fight, though. Torres looked really good in the first, man. Like, she was landing some really good shots. She was sticking and moving, not getting in too much trouble. But my God, this fight was one of those things where, like, Tisha started off doing good. Like, she was doing everything I guess you would pretty much want someone to do against Andrade. But the way Andrade is, man, like, it seems like it's only a matter of time before you just end up in a bad spot and it's just over. And Andrade he's just a tank, man, a non-stop tank that just doesn't quit. Like, Torres was landing some really solid shots and Andrade was just kind of just walking through.
Yeah.
And and then when she starts throwing people, that's when you know it's over. And she starts slamming Torres around and lifting her off her feet, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. But I mean, props to Torres. Like, she did her best to make it a competitive fight. Like, I don't think there were any points where, like, she, like, gave up or conceded and just, like, shelled up. Like, like I said, she was consistently throwing strikes. She was trying to stick and move on the feet, but Andrade just overpowered her, man. Like, just literally just overpowered her. Like, she would get her blitzes off, and if they clinched it all, you know Torres was about to go flying somewhere, and Andrade's gonna Andrade pretty much.
Yeah.
It's kind of how this fight.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame that, like, Andrade doesn't get the credit she deserves as, like, I don't want to say like a technician, but like like strategy wise, like she did like you said, Torres was doing a fantastic job with those counters in the first round, especially with the right hand. Like, she would just step back to the right hand, move out of range. So what you get is Andrade just throwing those hooks around the right hand, just cutting off her exit and then following it up with a hook from the other side. Like, in terms of, like, pure punching mechanics, like just getting your waist completely into the punch, Andrade does that, and she does it so, like, correctly that it's part of the reason why she's able to go 3 or 5 rounds with just completely throwing power. It's scary. And she's not even, like, a great wrestler, but she's just so fucking strong. Like, when she gets her hands on you, she will ragdoll you. Like, this woman was going toe-to-toe with Rocky Pennington in the clinch. Like, that's just insane. Like, and she's a 115, like a 115er. Like, seriously. Like, from Torres, I would have liked to see more kicks, like kicks to the body, kicks to the leg, just to try it, and even just, like, even have the potential to slow her, like, Andrade down, because she was never gonna do it just by boxing with her. Like, no matter how well she cut angles, and no matter how well, like, and I'm not sure if it's because she's been fighting women her size. Like, Andrade is not a very tall woman. Michelle Waterson's not a very tall woman for 115. But she's been sitting down her punches a lot more than, like, she did when she was fighting, like, Jocelyn Nybarger or crap, what was the other woman's name? Not Lima. Crap. Yeah, I guess Angela Hill too, but that was mostly a wrestling match. But, like, you see a little bit more confidence when she plants her feet, because she's not she's not completely ensnared in somebody's range.
Right.
Like, I would, like I said, I would have liked to see the knees more. Like, she went to the clinch because I think she thought if she could get on top of Andrade, she would have the advantage. But, like, that's a heavy order. Like, Andrade the balance is just surreal because she is so damn strong. It's a shame Torres couldn't win this fight because it would have been a weird. It would have been a fun angle to see promoted to see her challenging for the title while Pennington was challenging for the title too.
All right.
But like Andrade versus what will likely be Rose Namajunas, should she beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk in Brooklyn, will be a crazy fight. It's probably going to end with Andrade being champion.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out in my head about how that fight would play out. I guess Thug Rose has proven me wrong, so I'm not quick to bet against her anymore. So I don't know, but yeah, Andrade's gonna Andrade, man. Like if you fight her, you're in for a tough night. Like you're in for just a really tough outing. But man, yeah. So Andrade held it down, but no shame on Torres. Like I said, man, I think she's somebody who is definitely talented enough to find her way into a title shot. But it's like, man, when you get into like that top, creme de la creme of that division, man, it don't get easy. It does not get easy. But shout out to Torres, man. She put on an awesome fight, and Andrade's gonna Andrade. But I guess moving on to the next fight, Ilir Latifi, Ovince St. Preux. Why is Ilir Latifi just built like he's built like all of the ancient like warriors that you were ever told about? Like that's what he looks like in real life. Like this, every time I see him, I'm like, this dude is just shredded for no reason. But Ilir Latifi, Ovince St. Preux, not really a ton going on in this fight. It's a lot of, I feel like a bit of it was like a feeling out process, a lot of paw touching, couple of kicks going on here and there. But Latifi eventually just kind of closed this fight out in emphatic fashion. I think he dropped Ovince with a left. Proceeded to just kind of turn kind of just turned Ovince around. He like stumbled back to the cage. He ate some punches. They got back to the feet. I think he I don't remember what happened. He fell back to the ground again. And then the finish kind of reminded me of it was very John Jones Machida-esque, where he catches Ovince in like the standing guillotine, and I'm not a fighter, so take my advice for a grain of salt. But I think OSP made a pretty bad mistake not going for the hands. It seemed like when he was getting choked out, he was trying to get a takedown. I don't know what he was trying to do, but it didn't work. And I felt extra bad for him because he got floored. He got floored first, and then he gets choked out, and then he taps out. But nobody sees the tap out, and then he just ends up going unconscious anyway.
Right.
So, double whammy. I felt really bad for him. But, what was crazy after this fight was over? I was thinking, Ilir Latifi, Shogun, title eliminator fight.
Well, I mean, do you hate... I was going to say, do you hate Shogun enough to make that fight? But, like, Shogun might be able to actually beat Latifi. So, whatever. Fuck it.
At this point, I don't know. I don't know. That might just be a thing that happens. Like
Ilir Latifi versus Luke Rockhold. There we go.
I'm not mad at that. Yeah, that's a good welcome because I I know Gus and Rockhold have been going back and forth. I don't want to see that fight for Rockhold at 205. I don't think that fight goes
At least not first. Like, let the man get a fight or two in.
Right, yeah, and then let him build his way up to that. OSP, though. Well, I don't even know what to say.
He just is what he is, man. Like, this is a dude who wanted to stay at his one camp, and this is where he ended up, with him trading wins and losses in the top 10.
It's just like I look at him and I look at his skill set and I'm like, you should be so much. And to, I guess, put it in perspective, I'm not saying like he's not like a terrible fighter. Like he's had really good wins, he's had really good performances. His record overall is still pretty solid, but like he'll have these lapses sometimes where like he'll go on a streak and then he'll have a terrible streak, and then I don't know, it's just a bit inconsistent. And I feel like for somebody with his skill set, like I don't know, man. I feel like I feel like he should be more. And it's kind of weird saying that because I mean before the Latifi fight he was on a 3-fight winning streak, but then before that he was on a 3-fight losing streak.
But like the 3-fight winning streak was Yushin Okami, Marco Rogerio de Lima, I think.
Yeah, and Corey Anderson, the head kick.
And like his best win is Corey Anderson, who just seems like he's just like a straight up bust at 205. So like not all wins are equal, I guess.
I don't know about, like I like him, but he's just one of those dudes that sometimes it's hard to, like I don't know what I'm gonna get from fight to fight. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I mean, Latifi's not much different. It's just his you don't know what you're gonna get from fight to fight is a lot more direct and physical. Like,
right.
Like you might end up with a fight like this, or you might end up with a fight like with his fight with John Vellante, where like they were literally just trading overhand rights and missing.
Didn't some? Oh yeah, Alvey called out Vellante. We'll get to that way later. But I don't know. Latifi Shogun title eliminator. Just be ready. In 2018, that might be a real thing.
Can we just point out really quick? On a good day, Ilir Latifi is 5'10", and OSP is like 6'4", 6'5". So the fact that Latifi got him with a standing guillotine is amazing.
Oh man, but yeah, that was that fight. Not a whole lot to really go into. This next fight though, a lot of people had their eyes on this one. Max Griffin, Mike Perry. People were expecting violence. You got violence. I think you got it a lot more from one side than the other. At least up until about that third round. But
I mean, he tried, man.
Yeah, he did.
It was really not going to work at all.
Yeah, Max Griffin, to put it pretty bluntly, like he schooled them. Like he did what everybody should do against a fighter like Perry. Like,
beat his ass.
Like, have good footwork, be able to deal out damage, be out of the way when Perry's loading up on a shot.
Yeah.
And as long as you can just manage to not eat like a crazy overhand or something like that, you can win. Like, and he like I said, man, he just kept good footwork. He kept not being in the way when Perry was throwing. He was able to deal out a lot of damage in return. Like he would throw and land combinations, but then he would get out of the way so he wouldn't be in the way of any return fire. And he literally, like, that was just what he did for the first 2 rounds, like, to a T. And he bloodied Perry's face just to a pulp. To Perry's credit, though, in the 3rd round, he did something I like seeing fighters do, where it's like, you're clearly down, you lost the first 2, you have to go for it in the 3rd. And in the third round, he definitely he was going for it. Like he landed some good shots. He caught I don't remember if it was a right. He stunned him with something. He stunned him, I believe, with like a right, and he landed a lot of heavy shots in the third. He was definitely going in for the kill, but it's kind of too little, too late. I can't remember if Griffin dropped him twice this fight, once or twice.
Once. He dropped him like the second, I think.
Either way, he put it on him. Like he just he put it on him, and like I said, Perry had a good third round where he was, trying to return fire, but yeah, man, Griffin kind of just put it on him, man. He went out there and just handled business. Really, really impressive performance from Griffin. He was, if you wanted violence, you got violence. It was just a bit one-sided.
Yeah. So this was Mike Perry's like 9th fight in the last 2 years. Yeah, it was like his straight up his 9th fight since the beginning of 2016.
Oh, he's on that Cerrone schedule.
But every Mike Perry fight is like this. So he looked like he's never been the fastest dude when it came to like footwork and like moving around the cage and everything like that. But he looked really slow at the beginning of this fight. Like part of that was just Max Griffin just being on his game and just like sticking to the game plan, working like perfectly from the outside. But like part of it was Perry literally 2 months ago had a freaking all-out war with Santiago Ponzinibbio. This was 2 months ago, and instead of taking time recovering, he went right back to sparring to get ready for this fight. So he's it kind of looks like he's slowing down at 25 years old, which is not good. Yeah, like everything you said, like Griffin just beat him to the punch for like 75% of the fight. Just refused to get drawn into a brawl, which like we've seen Max Griffin do. If you've seen him on the regional scene or any of his early UFC fights, he got overwhelmed a bit in the third round, but outside of that, it was just like he pitched the perfect game. It's I'm not trying to take anything away from Griffin, but like, and people like I'm not the biggest fan of Perry in the world. Like, I might actually hate him, but like, how are you just gonna burn out your fighter like that? Like management wise, like UFC brass wise, like that's just like that's a crazy ass schedule to keep up with, because like there are 2 other fights that stand out in that whole like 9 fights thing. It's like it's the Pons fight, the Joban fight, and the Roberts fight. Those fights were, for long portions of it, Perry was getting his ass beat. So it's just kind of crazy to me that they never stopped to think like, oh, maybe we should get this dude a break.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he wanted the Cerrone grind.
He obviously did, but somebody should have sat him down and been like, dude, you need to let your body recover. Like, and I think the hate for Perry, which justifiable as it is, kind of blinds a lot of people to the fact that he's like a ridiculously good athlete, and it's kind of amazing that he made it this far as a fighter, fighting out of a UFC gym where his coach is Alex Nicholson's dad. And like, I don't know who his girlfriend is, but like his girlfriend's like his head corner person.
Oh, yeah, she caught some wrath on Twitter for her corner advice. Jesus
I mean, I
Christ.
don't think her. I didn't hear all her advice. Like the one thing, like Stokes even mentioned it to us, like the break the leg thing. Like I mean, it wasn't bad advice. Like she told, kick the knee, try to keep this dude from being able to get away from you. But like, and obviously, I didn't hear any of the shit she said in the corner because we were. It was a UFC broadcast, so
Yeah.
it's not.
I mean, well, that was pretty much the only part they highlighted. Like, it was, yeah, like, she was like, apply pressure, get him against the cage, kick the knee, break
And
the leg.
like none of those things are bad and abstract. I don't think she gave him the tool. Like she was like, use the jab, or when he sets his feet to throw, make sure you're ready on the counter, or he's looking for this, so you know instead of throw a jab here, and like it was none of that. It was all I'm going to. It was all that. It was I'm going to throw this. Just throw this. Do this. It's the stuff we. It's the stuff you see. It's the stuff you see like a lot of the time. Like honest to God, like it's the stuff that separates like okay coaches from great coaches. But like yeah, no, like I don't know what his training situation's like, but like it probably should be better than this.
Yeah, so that's two in a row.
Shouts to Koika Carnage, who said that it's really cool that Mike Perry was able to fit the whole Chris Lieben career arc into like 2 years.
Oh man, yeah, he dropped two in a row now. Um, yeah, I don't know. He probably should. He probably would be due for a good break, and I think also he should. I don't know. Like I feel like maybe there should be some more wrinkles he should add to his game, or maybe just like utilize his wrestling a little more. Like I think he just kind of falls in love with the power shot. I mean, I get it. Anybody that hits that hard,
Yeah.
But I think if he had a bit more diversity in his game, and like I think the tools are there, he just doesn't really use them.
I would really like to see him kick more.
Yeah, and it's like he throws them, like he throws that front kick sometimes, or like the side kick, but like he'll do it for a little bit, and then he'll just kind of get back to just winging that right and just trying to load
Yeah, and
up.
against
But
Ponce, he was really throwing that switch kick to the body. So I really like that. So add more of that to your game, hopefully.
yeah, like he's got tools. He just kind of needs to put it all together. But props to Max though. Like Max winning.
All right, Sensei, I'm gonna just need 2 minutes because my family's lazy.
All right, I'm holding down the podcast again. But yeah, man. Shout outs to Max Griffin, man. That was an awesome performance. Yeah, man. He pretty much laid out the blueprint on how to beat Perry and guys who fight like Perry. Just guys who just kind of just want to load up and kill you. He kind of gave you a good blueprint to keep yourself out of trouble. At least up until that third round. But shout outs to Max, man. That was a great performance. Nice violent scrap that delivered. Well, I guess if you were a Perry fan, it didn't go your way, but it was violence nonetheless. I was pleased. So shout outs to Max Griffin. On to the next fight. And actually, hold up. Oh, that actually rounded out the main card, which is only 4 fights. So that's why I love Fox cards. 4-fight main cards are always the way to go. So moving on to the feature prelim, Brian Kelleher, Renan Barão. Yeah, going into this fight, man. And I know Barão had his moment in the sun. He had his reign at the top of the world, but as of late, he's been looking a little, a little wishy-washy, and I definitely picked Kelleher in this fight, and Kelleher ended up getting the decision. But it was a fun fight though, man. This was a fun scrap. Pretty much them these two dudes just kind of going back and forth. But I think Baral's problem, and this isn't the only fight we've seen this in like his last few fights, that he is a very hittable. he's just very hittable. His head doesn't he doesn't move a ton. His head is just kind of there to be hit, and Kelleher, definitely took advantage of that. And I mean, props to Baral. Like he was definitely firing back. He was definitely working the leg kicks that were pretty good. But Kelleher is just one of those dudes, man. He's just game, like, and he.
Are you talking about how Baral looked good for like 3 minutes and then fell apart?
Like, Baral had like good moments. Like he was working those leg kicks. Those were working. Like he landed a lot of good shots in the first round, but Kelleher is just one of those dudes, man. He's just game, and he just kept putting the pressure on. And if he wasn't, landing strikes on the feet, he would, clinch Baral against the cage, just kind of just try to like wear him out. And then was it the first? He dropped Baral at one point.
Yeah, second round or first? I can't even remember.
Yeah, he dropped Baral, had him in trouble. And then he had that nasty flurry. It was crazy that Baral was even standing. He had a really nasty flurry on Baral where like Baral was just in survival mode for like a minute straight, and somehow made it out of the fight alive. But yeah, man, just Kelleher just kind of eventually just started to like put it on him. I mean, Baral was still firing back, but you could tell like he was just. It was an entertaining fight, but Kelleher just seemed like he was getting the better of the exchanges. He seemed to be the fresher fighter, and this fight just it just kind of looked like this was just a Baral fight. It just seems like this is how his fights go now. Like he has moments that are good, but he can't string together like a full performance, and then he just kind of comes up short. And I mean, he's at ATT now. So I mean, I guess they're working with him on his game, but it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of weird how like his at one point this guy was like he was like untouchable, and now he's like everybody's just, I don't say beating up on him, but he's not Superman anymore, man. The cape got removed and the S on the chest got ripped off. And
like
people are just waving kryptonite in his face.
Yeah, no, just the ass whooping he took after that bad weight cut. Like maybe it was just always going to like be like this, where like the moment Baral got beat as badly as he did, like in the first Dillashaw fight and I guess the second Dillashaw fight, was just the moment he would just completely like just his body would just go completely out of whack. That was just like a really bad year for him, wasn't it? Because like it was what happened again? Did he hit his head in the tub or something? Like
one of those weight cuts where like he passed out and he hit his head on the tub.
Yeah, and then 8, 9, 10 months later he goes and gets his butt kicked again. Like it was just never gonna work out. That year ruined his career. The skills are all there, but his body's just cooked. Like he's too, for whatever reason, he gets muscled around at 145. He can make. We've seen that he can make the cut now that he's at ATT, but like he has 5 minutes of offense. He tires out. His chin isn't what it used to be, because that was a huge part of his game. When he would get cracked, he would just plant his feet and start throwing back, like in little like flurries. And that's how he would keep people off him. Like, if this was the Baral pre-TJ Dillashaw fighting Brian Kelleher, he would have we would have got tagged and planted his feet. Instead, he was trying to tie up. He was getting rocked. Like, it just wasn't there for him. His whole game was built around that.
Yeah, so the fall, all the mighty have fallen, but. Good on Kelleher, man. Like I like watching Kelleher's fights, man. He's always game, always bringing action, always moving forward, and you got Barrow's name on your resume now, so good performance on him, man. Like he went in there and just kind of handled business, and unfortunately for Barrow, it's just kind of wondering. It almost seems like the clock is ticking. It's like, how much longer do you have left in this, like, in this game? Like, how much longer are you going to be around, man? It seems like the clock might be ticking on him. Like, these might be the last days. At least maybe in the UFC. I don't know. He might go to some other organization, but like, I don't know how longer he sticks around here, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But great win for Kelleher. But like I said, it was a really fun fight. Like I said, it was a lot of action on both sides. It's just that Kelleher was, he was just getting the better of that action. But it's definitely a fight worth watching. Pretty good feature prelim. Really, all of these prelims were awesome. So really, I guess moving on to the next fight, Marion Renault and Sarah McMahon. I forgot until somebody reminded me that Marion Renault's 40. like it's crazy that she's 40 and she's still out here. Like,
But the beauty of MMA is you get a certain amount of years to be really good, and she didn't really get her career. Oh wait, she started like 2012, so she's like only 6 years into her career. Like she had a fight before that, but that was like she took a 2-year break after it. So I'm gonna say 2012. So she's 6 years in. She's got like a couple of years more of her prime. If physically she just doesn't completely fall off.
no, she looks still there.
Yeah, no.
Really, both of them did, man. But like, it was funny just watching them, like, as Buffer's announcing them. I'm just like looking at their physiques, and it's like McMahon is like just guns blazing. Like she's built like an android or something like that. But yeah, man, this was a fun fight. McMahon was holding it down in the first round, man. Like she got Renault on the ground. She pretty much like kept her there. She had her in some bad crucifixes, just kind of beating up on her, and it was looking bad, man. Like McMahon really kind of put it on her in that first round, and then second round comes and Renault manages to turn it back around, man. Like I want to say they both threw at the same time. I can't remember. I think Renault threw a left and then a right and just kind of like dropped her.
Yeah.
And then McMahon was trying to go for takedowns, and then eventually she did. So she had went for like a single leg. Eventually, I think she had got the single leg when it went to the ground, and it was just kind of, I don't know, maybe if she was still out of it, because I think she got dropped. She ate some shots, and then she was going for single legs. She eventually got one. I'm not sure maybe if she was just still out of it, because like as soon as she like got the single leg and got her on the ground, Renault like immediately threw up her legs for the triangle, and I don't know if McMahon just kind of just wasn't paying attention, or like I said, maybe she still wasn't like all the way recovered, but she just kind of let Renault just kind of just throw her legs up there uncontested.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of Renault just like adjusting the triangle, getting it in, tight enough, getting, good position to make sure it's sunk in all the way. And yeah, literally she adjusted, she got the triangle in, and that was it. She pulled off a pretty good comeback.
Like 0 defense attempted during that whole sequence at the end. Like literally, like just like kind of accepted it until she gave up. Until she tapped. Like, is this not just Sarah McMahon at her most Sarah McMahon? She's winning till she's not, and then she loses all of a sudden. And this is kind of Marion Renault too. Like she gets taken down pretty easily. She got taken down pretty easily against who was it? Toledo Bernardo in her last fight. But she comes out here, she gets her moment of offense in, and it leads to her getting the win. She's a pretty good finisher too. Like I want to say this is like her 4th finish in the UFC. So she's 1 2, 3, 4, 5 wins, 4 by finish. So she's 5-2-1 overall because they refused to give her the Betchko Hale win, which she should have got. And she should have beat Ashley Evans Smith. She dropped her twice, and they gave her the round. I remember that. But what was my point? Yeah, no. Shouts to Mary Renault. She's 40 years old. She's still here beating people's asses.
Right. And then she gets to go back and be a teacher and put the fear of God into her students.
What she say? Mama's coming home.
Right. So yeah, shout outs to Renault, man. 40 years old out here, still giving people the works.
She should be on a 5-way fight winning streak. Her only real loss in the UFC is to Holly Holm. Also, shouts to Julia Avila. Julia Avila beat Mary Renault all the way back in like 2012. And she also beat Nico Montano before Nico Montano became she was Nico Montano's last loss before she went on to win the UFC 5-way title. She should be in the UFC.
Lineal champ. But yeah, man, that was a pretty awesome fight. So yeah, shout outs to Renault pulling the comeback. Next fight, Angela Hill, Marina Moroz.
You can't win fights.
I'm always
by punching the air and making loud sounds, unless you're Holly Holm.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm always rooting for Angela Hill. She's like one of my favorite people in MMA in general. But yeah, that was kind of the story of this fight. And you know what? To be honest, I was afraid when this went to decision because. So here's the thing about this fight. Like, this fight was a lot of. I mean, they both were active, but like you said, Marina was making a lot of the the loud kiosk sound every time she threw a punch.
They were even like kiosks. They were like just straight up grunts. It was like what's her name? Maria Sharapova.
Like, there was just a lot of noise and a lot of volume throwing, but like she wasn't landing a lot of anything. And Angela Hill was definitely landing more. Like she didn't have as high as output, but she was just a lot more effective with what she was doing. She was landing that right hand a lot, and her shots were just like I said, they were just landing more. And then I think she had got a takedown also. But I was afraid because I don't remember the exact stat, but Marina threw like a ridiculous amount of strikes. I'm not sure how many she landed, but just like the amount that she threw was like ridiculous. And I was a bit afraid that the judges would just, I don't know, that they would just maybe just see the effort, but not like what actually landed, and they would end up giving her the decision. But luckily that did not happen. I think Hill went pretty clean on the scorecards. But yeah, that's kind of the moral of the story. I mean, if you're gonna throw like 1,000 punches, you kind of need to land some of them.
Like I want to say Angela Hill. They mentioned during the broadcast she had like an over 50% like connection rate, and like
right.
Marina Moroz had like an 18% connection rate. So
It was a lot of air punching.
Like,
but,
would you have expected this type of performance from the woman who beat Joanne Calderwood? Remember that? Where she went out there and like tapped her in like under a minute.
Oh man, that did happen. Man, that's weird. That is weird. I just wonder though, that like at what point? Well, I mean, she landed some shots, but there wasn't a lot of substance going on. So like, at what point do you switch up the game plan, or I don't know.
I mean, you got she's really rope. So like all the combinations you saw her throwing, you could see that she was just like throwing from memory.
Oh, hold on, before you go along. So I'm looking at her record now. All of her sub wins are by armbar.
Yep.
So why is she not going? Why is this not a thing?
Oh, because I think her normal way of winning is just like to pop the other person, like, and then dive on like an arm.
So clearly you had something going with like your first 5 fights. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, so that's 2 straight drops for her. Good on Angela Hill getting herself back in the win column. I'm always looking forward to an Angela Hill fight, so I'm happy to see her get a W. Hopefully maybe she can string together a few, because I think she's on the whole win-loss thing right now. Like, yeah, she dropped the fight to Andrade, and she beat Yoder, then she lost to Anzarov, and then she got this W. But good on Hill for throwing and landing. That will win you a fight. Meanwhile, throwing air and punching air while making loud noises, that might not work out well for you. But speaking of throwing and landing really hard, Alan Jouban, Ben Saunders, excuse me, we're dying. I think this got fight of the night.
Yes.
I want to say, well deserved. This was a very, I think this fight kicked off the regular prelims, I believe, because I think the Fight Pass prelims ended, I think, with the Alby fight. So I think this kicked off the prelims that were on Fox. This was just a very violent fight. It's pretty much how I can. It was just violence, like. But things I noticed and really enjoyed from this fight. I loved how like the different kinds of strikes Jouban was throwing. In particular, I love the use of elbows, like standing elbows. I wish more people would do them. I feel like they're very effective, and he definitely made use of his 8 limbs. He caught Saunders with a lot of standing elbows, and they were all just beautiful to watch. He also made good use of the inside leg kick, which in a way was kind of Saunders' downfall. And not to downplay Saunders' performance, he was always pushing forward. He landed a lot of good shots of his own. They were both like tagging each other, at least in the first. I felt like in the second, Jouban was kind of running away with the fight. But yeah, like that inside left kick was doing work, and I like how Jouban would throw the inside left kick, but he would follow it up with like a combo, and that seemed to be working really well. And that's, to me, kind of what won him the fight. I mean, after they just kind of went to war, and Saunders was just tank probably on empty. He catches Saunders with the inside leg kick, kind of gets him off balance. Saunders kind of wobbles forward, and Jouban just blasts him with like a left, and that was a nasty KO. Like KO with your leg bent backwards, arms just crucifixion status. It was the flat line of all flat lines. But well deserved fight of the night. Really good violence in this fight, man. Good performance from Jouban. Gutsy performance from Saunders. Like I said, both dudes were really throwing, but I think Jouban just kind of had a more diverse attack. Like I said, inside leg kick, lots of elbows, and then eventually that inside leg kick with the left hand just kind of ended it. But awesome fight, man. Really, really awesome fight.
So I'm kind of at that point where like watching Ben Saunders fight, it just hurts. Like it's highly uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's been around for.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just like he reacts so violently to being hit. Like everything, like he looks like he's about to fall apart at any moment.
It's weird. He's only 34. For some reason, I thought he was way older. It seems like I've been watching him fight for a long time.
He's been fighting at some high level for how many years now? Like, he was in the UFC for his first stint all the way back in 2007. So he's been fighting like televised for like 11 years now.
Jesus Christ. Where's Jacob Volkman? Just looking at his record, some of these names, like where did some of these guys even still alive?
I mean, I think the Secret Service secretly had Jacob Waltman killed.
Oh yeah, he did say some. Yeah, conveniently his last fight was against Ben Saunders, and he's since not fought again.
But
But
yeah, like Court McGee's still in the UFC, I think, unless he got cut.
no, I think he's still there. You know what I think? You know why I think the Saunders loss has probably hurt so bad? Is I think there's just some guys I feel like that like when they lose fights, like they lose fights. Like it just looks really bad.
Yeah,
Like, you think back to like his losses to Lima, like those were some bad KOs. And yeah, like his losses just really stand out because they're just like they're really violent losses. And yeah, this one was kind of just another one of those. Ugh. But kind of is what it is, I guess. You know.
that was a nasty ass
Where's
knockout.
Joe been? It was. What was it me or has Joe? Has it been a while since Joe Bond has fought? I just feel like I haven't seen him. Oh no,
He
he did fight
fought
last year.
last August.
He fought. Oh, yeah, he fought
Yeah,
Nico
he got
Price.
knocked out.
I don't know why it just seemed like he's another one of those dudes that when he fights, I'm like, oh, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, he probably took. Like, I'm not sure if it's like this has anything to do with it, but like he's not. It's not like he has another job.
Doesn't he
Yeah.
like a model or something?
So
Yeah,
That-
he don't need the UFC cash.
that might be part of it. But he said he wants to fight 3 times this year, 3 or 4 times. I can't remember, but you know.
He looked good though. He looked good. So yeah, for Saunders though, that's it's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
So I don't
Pretty much.
have a good memory of these next 4 fights because I still
Yeah, I was literally about to say the exact same. Well, I kind of have a decent memory of the Alby fight only because I watched that again this morning. But these last 3, I can't really go into much detail about. But I guess moving on. Props to Joe Ben. Great win, great KO, great fight, well-deserved fight tonight. If you guys didn't see that fight, definitely go back and check that one out. But yeah, these next 4 fights, which were the Fight Pass prelims, Sam Alvey, Marcin Pacino, if I'm saying that correct. I think this was Marcin's UFC debut, I want to say. Oh, he was in 1. I did not know that.
Okay, who?
Marcin.
Oh yeah, he didn't he fight for a title or something.
He must have. Well, I don't know. He won his last 4. He left 1 on a 4-fight win streak. Oh, crazy. He TKO'd Machado too. Just like we were talking about Machado before we started recording. Funny his name pops back up again. But yeah, Sam Alvey, Marcin.
Jake, what's his name? Jake Butler. He knocked out the Wall Street dude.
Oh man.
This is a dude that heard of him forever.
He found his way into the UFC. This fight was at 205. Sam Alvey up at 205. Yeah, first thing about this fight, just the contrast and personality. Sam Alvey's smiling and laughing, and Marcin looks like he just wants to kill the entire stadium. I don't remember this fight terribly much in detail. I just remember some not good things on Marcin's end. He got countered, I think, with a right, or he just got stuck. He had a lot of moments where he just wasn't keeping his hands up, and that just ended up losing him the fight. Like he got caught with, I think it was a right hook that dropped him first, and then he gets back up, he plots forward, but like his hands are just completely down, like he's just begging to be hit, and then he eats another hook, and he falls forward like on his knees, and the ref just stops it, and I'm not gonna complain about the stoppage. It like he just literally, he was just asking to be KO'd, and he just walked right into a Sam Alvey hook, and that was pretty much the end of that. So after that fight was over, Sam Alvey called out John Vellante. He said he thinks that would be a fun fight. Make of that what you will.
I mean, John Vellante gets hit more than any other fighter in the UFC, like statistically. So if I'm gonna call out anybody, I'm gonna call out the one dude who I know if I hit and I can knock him out, and he's ranked. He's number 14. So smart. I think that's a smart ass move.
Yeah. And I mean, good on Alvey. He comes up to 205. Seems like his power is still there. So I mean, yeah, if those two dudes want to throw down, I'm not against it. So good win on Alvey. Nice walk-off KO. I guess these next 3 fights will just kind of run through. Ronnie Yaha and Russell Doan. All I remember from this fight, willingly going to the ground with Ronnie Yaha is not a good look.
Was it willingly? Because he kept getting single-legged.
Well, he got single leg, but I felt like I thought there was a point in the third where he went. I don't know if he went for a takedown. I feel like there was something he did in the third that he purposely went to the ground. I could be wrong. Either way,
I don't remember these fights, so I can't say anything.
Either way, in a Ronnie Yaha fight, if you go to the ground, it's probably not going to go in your favor. And Ronnie Yaha ended up getting the arm triangle choke in the third, and that's pretty much how that fight
Yay.
went. And to be honest,
Yaya has 8 submissions in the UFC and WEC. I think that ties him for like 6th or 7th or something, with like 3 or 4 other people.
I completely forgot about the Joe Soto fight. It's weird, like how many wins he has, but he doesn't really get any big.
Because he's running Yaya.
Yeah, they keep him at bay. they keep.
I mean, they gambled Joe Soto and then he lost, so he has no one to blame himself.
And these next 2 fights, to be honest, I watched them, but I don't remember them much at all. Alex Perez got a
decision. Perez out wrestled Shelton for like 5 rounds or 5 minutes a round or 3 rounds. God damn it. he out wrestled Shelton for 3 rounds. He was working to pass and like stay busy, but it was just kind of a wrestling performance. Mind you, I saw this out the corner of my eye as I was driving home from work. So I was literally mostly listening to it. So I could be wrong, and there were moments of like Perez letting Shelton up on the feet or vice versa. But interesting note, Perez missed weight by like 0.5 pounds. So there's that. Shelton drops to like 0-3 in the UFC or something like that.
Jeez.
1-3.
In today's UFC, I don't know. They might well, I don't really know how they do cuts anymore, so I don't know how that even works. But good win on Perez. And last fight, Manny Bermudez got a guillotine choke over Albert Morales in a fight that I don't honestly remember that much either.
I didn't even watch it, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, I watched it, but I don't really remember it. So, congrats to Manny Bermudez. Wish I could go in more detail about your fight, but yeah, but that was pretty much the entire card. Overall, I thought this card was really good though, man. Like I was, and I watched this literally from the Fight Pass prelims. Like I got off of work at 3:30, and I think the Fight Pass started at like 4:15. So I was able to watch this card from like start to finish. Like I said, like the Fight Pass prelims were like just decent. But like once the Fox prelims kicked in, like this card really picked up. Like there was so many it was a lot of violence, a lot of good moments, just really fun fights, lots of finishes. So I really enjoyed this card. I had a lot of fun watching this, and I can't say this enough. I was ecstatic that after the Stephens Emmett fight was over, I turn around, I look at my clock, and it's 10:15, and I'm really excited. I think I went to sleep anyway, but still. a card ending at 10:15. That's a good thing. Good thing always. So that was UFC on Fox 28 in a nutshell. I guess real quick before we get into parting shots and shout outs. Since I know you watched the HBO fights last night, if you wanted to talk about those for a little bit.
They were really fun. Soron Visai took a decision over Juan. God damn it, I always say his name. Estrada. He went over Estrada. I think what was the other dude's name? Mick Arroyo ended up being Carlos Cuadras. Also by decision. McWilliams Arroyo, that's what it was. Okay. I had it 117 and 111 for Soron Visai over Estrada. Dude, it was a lot like the Roman Gonzalez fight, to be honest with you, except Estrada I think he got pieced up a little bit less. He got out to such an early lead just by he does an amazing job of going to the body, then going upstairs and mix up his rhythm and everything like that. And he kept the fight in a range where he was always going to be able to land his power. And Estrada did a very valiant job. When he got inside, he would let up these really fast, really slick 7-punch combinations, but there wasn't enough of that. There were moments where I thought that Estrada had Soron Visai hurt, but just couldn't capitalize fully. It was a fantastic fight. I'm not sure what this does for the super flyweight division in the HBO context, because again, wait, did we talk about this before the podcast or started? Because the guy who HBO brought in to be the leader of the super flyweight expansion, because they didn't actually they showcased the division prior to last year. Was or the year before, I guess. Roman Gonzalez. I don't want to say he's done, but there's limited stuff they can do with him now that he's lost twice and he got knocked out in the 4th round. The two dudes they brought in to shoulder the shoulder was Carlos Cuadras, who had a great fight with Roman Gonzalez and fought him real close, and Juan Francisco Estrada, the dude before Soron Visai, who arguably should have beaten Gonzalez, and they both lose on this card. Estrada probably better off, not better off, but better off than Cuadras, definitely. Since Arroyo's a dude who lost to Gonzalez pretty handily, but you have both the Mexican stars losing, so now HBO basically has Soron Visai and Naoya Inoue, who might not even be a super flyweight for much longer. So that leaves, I guess, weird vibes. I'm looking forward to McWilliams Arroyo versus Soron Visai. If you didn't see them both the fights, go watch them. They were really good. If anybody is familiar with Brian Valoria, he's another dude who fought Chocolatito. He fought on the same card. He got pretty soundly beaten by this dude Artem Delakian from the Ukraine. So it was a really fun card. If you didn't get a chance, go watch it.
I need to go back and I need to go back and check those out. I was up when they were on, but I think I just got old and ended up falling asleep.
Same.
But yeah, lots of good fights, and then all the combat sports going around. So lots of violence to come. Next week, March the 3rd, we got UFC 222 going down. Some pretty interesting fights on here. We got, of course, Cyborg and Kunitskaya, Edgar Ortega, Sean O'Malley, Andre Sukumtat, Stu Arlovsky, Kat Zingano.
They're really pushing Sukumtat, aren't they? Because he's in the commercial. I think he's actually the third fight from the top. He took.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah, him and O'Malley are right under.
And O'Malley. I mean, they're pushing O'Malley.
You say they're pushing. Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah. I don't think they're pushing Sukumtat. They're pushing O'Malley.
Yeah, sorry.
But Yeah, that. Then you got Mackenzie Dern's debut against Ashley Yoder. Dotson and Munoz will finally happen. Hector Lombard, CB Dollaway. Shout out to CB Dollaway. I was reading earlier about the elevator incident I guess he had. Yeah, and how like he's still
fucked up from it.
Yeah, he's still like messed up from it. And I think he sued the whatever hotel that was. I guess he's like fighting through the injury, but it's still like bothering him. So hopefully he's able to go in there and perform. But this looks like a pretty good card. Anything Cyborg related, I'm there for, and I'm really, really excited for Ortega and Frankie.
There's also the Bellator card next week. Bellator 195, Darren Caldwell versus Leandro Higo. Joe Warren versus Joe Tamango, and Christina Williams versus Emily Ducote.
Christina, who did she fight?
She's the woman who beat the crap out of Heather Hardy.
Okay, yeah, all right. I was trying to remember why that name was familiar. So yeah, man, lots of violence coming.
Is there another big fight next week? Or is my mind playing tricks on me? Deontay Wilder's fighting next week. He's gonna be fighting Luis Ortiz over on Showtime.
There we go.
So
that'd be fun. Deontay Wilder Saturday.
Yeah.
But
toughest opponents to date.
We'll see. I'm interested to see if he wins, if he calls out any names in particular. But we'll see. So lots of fights upcoming. And also quick note, I got some album reviews I'm gonna do. I've been listening to a lot of music lately, and I keep straying away from the albums I'm supposed to be reviewing. But album review, I'm hoping to put out next week. So be on the lookout for that. Also,
Macho Man album coming soon.
Oh Lord, I forgot. Now I have to delay my album reviews even further. Oh, Black Panther review coming soon too. I'm throwing that in there. I've seen that movie twice. I can't not talk about it. So that'll be coming next week too. But that's pretty much it for today's episode. So I guess, as always, before we close, parting shots and shout outs. So I got a couple shout outs and I got one shot. So we'll do shout outs first. Sticking with my Black History theme, and acknowledging people who are doing things now, currently in the present, breaking new ground, things of that nature. I want to give a shout out to, let me make sure I get her name right, Melissa Harvell LeBron. I hope I'm saying that right. She is the first African American woman to own a NASCAR team. I think it's called E2 Northeast Motorsports. I came across this story, I think around like Friday or something like that. She was someone I wanted to say she like an entrepreneur. She had like some kind of entertainment company. She had took her sons to like one of the events in Charlotte. And it's kind of funny though. She took her sons to NASCAR in hopes of deterring them from having like dangerous driving hobbies, and it ended up being the opposite. They ended up like falling in love with it, and she ended up creating a racing company from it. So I thought that was really dope. And I want to say I think I read some of the drivers, like she has a pretty diverse driving team. Obviously I think her sons drive. She also has a few Latino drivers. So spreading some diversity in the NASCAR landscape. So that was an awesome story. So big shout outs to her. Once again, her name is Melissa Harville LeBron. Definitely a cool story worth looking into. Shout outs to me finally being able to watch curling. I watched some on Saturday. I was really excited. The U.S. lost though.
Hey, I thought we won the gold medal.
I was watching the women's. Women's lost 6-9 to Sweden. But yeah, the men's won. I can't remember who they beat. But shout outs to the men's curling team. I don't know why. I don't understand curling, but I like watching it. Another shout outs to Patty Pimblett and Cage Warriors. He pulled off a flying triangle, which was really awesome. If I can remember, I will leave the Link in the description below for that. And I don't know if we mentioned it earlier, but another shout outs to second just reminder shout out to Ong Song over in One Championship over there dual wielding belts. Now the light heavyweight and middleweight championship, and he trains out of Maryland over in Crazy 88. So got to give a shout outs to him. And parting shot, man. Parting shot to the NCAA, which is about to just probably get turned over on its head. I'm not sure how many of you guys like watch or pay attention to college sports, but there's a lot of stuff going down, and I feel like the landscape of college sports probably within like these next few months it's gonna get turned on its head, man. Just a shot to the NCAA just for always being this corrupt. We've always known that it's a scam. It's like the most corrupt thing ever invented, but like everybody just kind of turned a blind eye to it. But now this Louisville scandal with Rick Pitino and the all of the things from that case, it seems like are about to blow over. And it's not just Louisville. I've been reading about this FBI probe. A lot of all of our favorite schools, mine included, there are rumors floating around. Like obviously Louisville got busted, but I've also heard rumors that a lot of legendary coaches and a lot of top schools are probably gonna be some dirt getting slung their way. And I heard some names like UNC, which hurts my heart, but I heard UNC.
What's going on with
Texas,
Arizona?
Arizona, did they have a?
Because the one player, like, it was like 100.
Yeah, Shaq's son actually. Yeah, that kind of goes on to this also. Shaq's son was committed to Arizona, and then he decommitted. I want to say over the weekend. Was it a payment scandal? Let me bring this up.
I want to say, yeah, it was something like an agent who said like they paid them like $100,000 or something.
Okay, yeah. So they according to the FBI wiretap, they allegedly caught who's this gentleman's names? His last name is Miller. Miller and Christian Dawkins, runner agent for Andy Miller, discussing $100,000 payout to make sure top player DeAndre Ayton signed with Arizona. And actually, Louisville has something like that too, where Adidas allegedly was trying to pay somebody, I think like that exact same figure amount, to make sure they ended up at Louisville. So either way, just a lot of shadiness going on in the NCAA.
Just fucking pay the players. God damn it.
Right. And I mean, like if you've been watching college sports if you've been following college sports for a while, like we've all known, like it's a corrupt system, and just now a lot of this stuff is finally coming to the light, and people are being called out and fired, and we got FBI probes going on. But
it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right.
Of course, it's corrupt.
Yeah. Shout to the NCAA, man. You guys you're getting what you deserve. This is a long time coming. I don't know what's gonna. There's going to be, I'm pretty sure there'll be major changes from this. I'm not sure exactly what the college landscape is going to look like in the next couple of years, because they're stripping away national titles from Louisville. All kinds of wildness is going on. But, just keep an eye on it, man. College sports it's going to be a makeover coming. It's going to be, something's going to happen, and I'm interested to see where it'll go. But that's all I got. Those are all of my parting shots and shout-outs.
I only got one. Well, I got two. Shouts to what's her name? Molly McCann. Won the inaugural women's flyweight title for Cage Warriors by knocking out name. I can't remember her name. Molly Meatball McCann knocked out Brittany the fuck type of name? Brioni Tyrell. I'm not even like. Am I having a seizure? I think it's Brioni Tyrell. I think that's her name. She knocked her out in the second round. Got and won the title. So congrats to her. She will probably be in Bellator or the UFC by the end of the year. What else? Oh, shouts to Janelle Monáe.
Dropped 2 singles, 2 music videos this week, and they're both amazing, and I love them.
I haven't watched it yet. I heard it's Django.
Django Jane and Make Me Feel, and they're both amazing. And
I gotta check
Make Me Feel is hot as fuck. Oh god.
There's a lot of music, like there's a lot of albums coming out like this month. And, like,
there were a lot that dropped recently. The two West Coast dudes from the Black Panther soundtrack.
Soundtrack. Yeah, they had an album that came out like yesterday.
Yeah. What's the homie's name? Freddie Gibbs. His album drop?
Did it?
Or no, Nipsey Hussle. There we go. Victory Lab.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle had an album come out. Elza in Crisis, the Jericho Jackson, that came out. Black Milk's album Fever came out, which is really dope.
Chance the Rapper's boy dropped out of space to drop his album, like literally. What's the dude's name? Tokyo. He went up into orbit and then like jumped out of a thing or something. He dropped his album from orbit. Like, he had like a physical copy of his album and he dropped it from orbit to promote it.
That's wild. Hey, that is next level. That's next level promotion. Shout out to Flatbush Zombies too. I never really listened to them, but this new song they put out, man, I've been listening to this nonstop. It's called Headstone, and that joint slaps, and I really enjoy it.
I get that.
So whatever album they put out, I'm definitely gonna listen to. And shout out to Logic, 44 More. So it's pretty dope too. But
shout out to Black Star 2 album. I don't know if I mentioned last week, but I'm not sure if I'm excited enough for that. But I want to hear it.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I'd just be happy to just hear Mos Def again.
Yes, and Bay.
That'll yeah. Yeah. Oh, real quick before we get out of here, because I noticed you watched it and I forgot this even came on. That documentary.
Yes, Shot in the Dark. Crap, that was gonna be my other shout out. Shout out to the dudes who made that documentary. I keep telling people it's like Chance and D Wade, but all they did was finance it, I think, or finance the distribution. It was great. For MMA fans wondering why they should care, it's the reason why your card started like 30 minutes late. Shouts to what's his name, Dustin and Daniel Poneman, the producer and the director. It was a documentary following the career of the high school careers of 2 basketball players. Who was it? Taekwon Greer and Marquise something. I can't remember his name. Sorry.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick so we can.
For those who don't know, Tyron Greer was a high school standout in Chicago. During the years that Jalil Okafor and God, what's the other dude's name that was on his team? Who was the dude on Jalil Okafor's team in high school? He's asleep. But from what I read, the documentary was originally going to be about like how these 2 schools, like because they were city rivals. It was going to be about how these 2 schools like the rivalry between these 2 schools, but like eventually it just turned into a documentary about like Orr Academy is not the same as the one that I can't remember the name of the other high school that Okafor was going to. It was very much more poor, and it had a lot more problems with gang violence and everything like that. And this documentary follows their like senior year. Marquise ends up in jail for gun possession twice. Greer gets shot in the leg the day before their game to go. The day before, I want to say like their quarterfinal game in States, or like the week before, and he ends up playing in that game. It's fantastic. The whole point was to just show you how what institutional racism and poverty looks like. It goes from like Greer, like dude is just like a teenager who comes to Chicago to play basketball, so that he has a chance to go to college. Um, he like his support system is basically his two grandmothers. Like that's who he lives with, and his aunt. Um, like his mother, I think, lives in like Mississippi or something. And you see like he's not a gang member, like not even the least bit, but like these are the people who that's the support system that's there for him, you know?
All right.
And this is how he goes about it like day to day. And this is just how he like goes about his life. And it's really it's super well done. Shouts to Lou Adams, the coach from the movie. It was just seems like a great guy trying to do his best for these kids. So
Yeah, I have to find a way to watch that 'cause I don't have cable.
and
But,
it's not. This isn't going to be the only. This is a part of a series apparently. The next one's going to be one produced, executive produced by LeBron James. It's going to be about a football team in like Florida or something. So, no.
Oh yeah, I have to check these out. But yeah, definitely you guys check that out if you didn't get a chance. I'll have to find a way to watch that. I always really like sports documentaries because they always end up being a lot more than just about sports. Like, and as somebody who played football in high school, it was really eye opening for me. Like that was my first time like being a part of like an organized team.
Right.
And yeah, you kind of see like a lot of these kids, sports literally like saves their lives. Like it literally it keeps them out of trouble. Like if there was no football or a basketball program at their school, like a lot of these kids wouldn't. It's
Yeah,
wild. It's
absolutely.
wild. Yeah, but yeah, shout outs to that documentary. But that's pretty much it for today's episode. As always, you can listen to this podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Also, check us out on Google Play. Send emails to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. If you have questions, concerns, or you just want to yell and be angry, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at Serial Sensei on Twitter. And if you want to hit us up on Facebook, just go to your search bar, hit in Dojo Talk Podcast, and you'll find us there. Oh, and real quick, one last shout out. Shout out to Anthony Pettis, who liked podcast posts on Instagram. Shout out to Stokes for posting it on Instagram. And shout out to Anthony Pettis, who liked the post on Instagram. So Anthony Pettis, if you happen to be listening, shout outs to you. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry what I said about you.
Right. Don't go back and listen to other. Oh no, we gave him some praise. We gave him some praise. We were fair. I think we were fair. But the cover our backs, in case we said anything unsavory.
Anthony Pettis, come on the show and defend yourself. I actually think there's one fighter who's out there who just listens to every single podcast because he wants to know if his name's in it.
It's gotta be one. And if you're that fighter, man, send us an email. We'll get you on the show. We'll try to get you on the show. But as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And hopefully we catch you guys soon. Peace.